Hello and welcome to MoobsCast. I am Moobs Like Jabber. If you don't know who I am, why not? We've been doing this podcast for a few weeks now and quite happy with the way it's going. Welcome to all the new people that sub to YouTube. Thank you very much for supporting what I try and do here. But we are here to talk about WWE Monday Night Raw. But before I get into it, I want to talk about the big news coming out of WWE this week, and that is the release of at least a couple of unfortunate names. A few of them no big surprise. Well, let's go through the list. Zeb Coulter, loved what they did with the Real Americans. Loved some of the promos Zeb would do, but what they're going to do with him? They put him with Swagger because he needed somebody who could talk. They put him with Cesaro because he needed somebody who could talk. The whole Del Rio thing just didn't work at all. But I am disappointed to see the back of Zeb Coulter. But he's no surprise. El Torito, Hornswoggle, they've rebranded Epico and Primo El Matadores, whatever they're calling themselves as of next week. They've rebranded them again, so what can they do with El Torito? Hornswoggle, he's been a good servant to WWE. He's done a lot of what they've asked. It was obviously the big story that he was Vince's son and all that sort of stuff. But there's not a lot they can do with. Alex Riley, I thought it had lots of potential. Reminded me a lot of Zack Ryder, but never lived up to it. Never lived up to it at all. Went back to NXT, obviously retired for a while, but it never got going for him, did it, Alex Riley? And Santino Marella, or Marella, however you want to pronounce it. Santino was always a joke act. Felt a bit sorry, he got a bum deal, but he was never huge. But again, he's done great for WWE. He's done everything they've asked and probably more. He's been allowed to make himself look an arse, whether that was WWE creative or Santino or the fact that they both had that idea. Either way, nothing against Santino. I'm just not surprised. And Cameron as well, who's said bye-bye. Now, that surprised me a little bit. I didn't see Cameron going. I have to be honest. But anyway, they've gone. And then there was the two big names, which one... Well, neither surprised me. They both extremely disappointed me. First of all, King Barrett. Now, obviously, as a UK person, and as a northerner who doesn't live that far away from where Barrett came from, I'm extremely disappointed for Wade. I think WWE, maybe it's the biasness talking, but I think maybe WWE missed the trick with Wade Barrett. He had so much potential. He could have been our first WWE champion. I know it wasn't at the time, but he could have been huge. And a lot of stuff that I'm reading is if it wasn't for Cena burying him in the infamous SummerSlam match, Barrett could have definitely had a really good career. I mean, he's had a good career, but he could have been up there. You know what I mean? I'm really sad to see the back of Wade Barrett. I hope we kind of see him around a bit. I don't want him to just go in TNA and turn him into a bit of a douche. But I want to hear good things about Barrett. And let's be honest, and it's happened before. I mean, look at Luke Gallows. Just because they've been released, if they go away and redo themselves, repackage, come up with new ideas, come up with fresh new moves and things like that. Then they could easily be back. And then the biggest disappointment, and I think every WWE fan will say this, and I'm shocked they didn't at least give him a little bit more TV time, but the biggest shock is Damien Sandow. The man is over. He could sell them, a lot of story. Like the stuff he did was Mizdow was fantastic. That was when he really popped with the fans. But there was a petition going online to get Sandow some airtime, but they've just released him. And I think from the fans' point of view, we're all extremely disappointed. We didn't want to see the back of Sandow. I think with Sandow, I think Vince has probably pulled him aside or maybe even Triple H, somebody's pulled him aside and said, look, we haven't got no ideas for you. We don't know what to do with you. So we're going to let you go. But go to New Japan or go to, go somewhere where you can easily make a name for yourself. Don't go to TNA, for God's sake. You'll never get back again. I think they'll have sat him down and said to him, it's we don't know what to do with you. We're going to release you, but please go away and come up with an idea for yourself. Get yourself even more over the fans. Get a buzz going, and we'll look at you again. I really hope they have with Barrett anyway, with Sandow anyway, because I think they've really dropped a ball massively there. And obviously then there's the news of the whole Ryback situation. He's not been released, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't once his contract's up. Now, here's a message for Ryback. You're not that good. We don't care what you think. Now, Ryback's come out and basically been a bit of a dick. From his, I can see where he's coming from, about the pay structure. I don't know anything about the pay structure in WWE, so I stay out of that. I like to get involved with what's on TV. Ryback is crap. He's a limited, overhyped wannabe. Now, I'm sorry if people don't like that, but Ryback is not the future of WWE. So, as I repeat, Ryback, if you ever see this, please just remember, you're not that good. Shut your mouth and be happy to be paid, because there's a lot of people in the indie circuit and there's a lot of people that's been released who would put up with what Vince was wanting you to put up with. So anyway, I do apologise if that offends anybody, but I'm here to give my opinion. This is the whole point of this podcast, is for me to see as I see it and to say how I see it. And the way I see it is Ryback's bitching, and he ought to shut his mouth and remember that there's people out there that love to be in the position he's in. WWE is starting the new era. Great. Ryback's not the future of WWE. And he really needs to remember what sort of a privileged situation he's in. There's even talk of even a couple more names being abandoned around. There was a few I was still surprised that wasn't in there. I was expecting maybe Swagger. We can go into this now because it's not a massive thing for Raw anyway. I was expecting Darren Young as well. Now, if you have watched Monday Night Raw, what was that promo all about? Make Darren great again or something stupid like that. Okay, is this like Darren Young's last chance of making it? I don't know, but I was surprised not to see him on there. Who else was I thinking that I'm surprised they wasn't gone as well? There was a few in it. We could always name names on people that you don't see. Otunga, as far as I'm aware, unless I'm not kept up to date with it, I was expecting Otunga to have gone. There's probably 3 or 4 names, but like I say, there is supposed to be more in the pipeline of being, future endeavour. Thank you very much for everything you've done, or in some cases, thanks for trying, but you failed miserably, and we're going to let you go. So I think the next few weeks are going to be interesting. And I think this is another sign of Vince trying to show that WWE is moving on. I was reading an article. Here's one that I heard the other day, and I kind of hope it's not true. I know they're trying to do the new era, but if they release Randy Orton, that would be and keep John Cena, that would be holy crap, what the hell. Now, it's just internet talk. I don't believe it's true. I don't think Vince will release Randy Orton. I think Randy may wind down his contract and decide to go and be with his family, possibly. Maybe for a couple of years and then probably come back. But the way I've read it is there's talk of releasing Randy Orton. Now, that would be stupid. That would be really stupid, and I don't believe it's true. And as I say, if they're going to release Orton and not Cena, if they're trying to move on, if they use the phrase, look, we're trying to move on, and we're going to release Randy Orton and John Cena, then fine, because that shows they're trying to move on. Cena's back on Memorial Day. Great. So, they can't release one of that era and not keep the other, who nobody liked. Bearing in mind, Orton's well respected and liked. John Cena's liked by kids and women and hated by guys like myself who are wrestling fans, and the fact is the guy can't wrestle. So I don't know. That's kind of going to be an interesting one. Like I say, I don't believe that anyway. But yeah, so let's keep an eye on the internet. Let's keep an eye on WWE news and see where we go from there. Really, I mean, maybe it's all true, maybe it's all rubbish. I don't know. Anyway, let's go on to Monday Night Raw. Now, the only way I can sum up Monday Night Raw is they're trying to bring in the new era. Now, for me, that's one of the worst named ones out of the lot. I mean, we've had the Attitude Era, we've had the PG era. Well, I know they didn't call it the PG era, but it's like they're trying to ram the new era down our throat. Now, to me, I'm just going to nickname it the NXT era. Or if you prefer, we could call it the Indie era. I tell you what, guys, that's completely up to you. What would you like to call it? If you know what you'd like to, my choices are either NXT era or the Indie era. So it's completely up to you guys. I'll let you choose. If you can think of anything better, then please, we'll put it to a vote and see what people like. But either way, they're bringing in this new era thing. But then we open the show with old man Chris Jericho. Now, I don't get that. Now, yes, they broke Big Cass down. It was great. But they still opened the show with Chris Jericho. And I don't know. It kind of felt like it fell back. Since Shane's come in, and I'm not saying Shane's done this. I just think it's, probably the way WWE have done it. It's not that Shane's done the creative anything. But since Shane's been in, we've had good Raws. We've had brilliant Raws from Mania. And this one kind of took a step back for me, if I'm totally honest. It was like, But then maybe is that because they're just carrying on for Extreme Rules like from Payback? I mean, is that the reason why I feel as though we've just kind of gone back to how it was again? Yes, the young lads was in there. Yes, the young lads had excellent matches. But it still felt like it did 6 months ago. Like I say, it's like they took a step backwards. We saw another debut. I mean, she didn't wrestle or anything, but Dana Brooks came in. Her and Emma jumped Becky Lynch, so obviously that's the way they're going now. I mean, surely Becky's going to go and find somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Bayley comes in. Maybe Bayley and Becky Lynch versus Emma and Dana. I don't know. I think that's where they're going. And so they did that, and then we kind of let's go with a promo at the start. Now Jericho obviously comes out, starts bad-mouthing Ambrose, which is a Jericho promo. He's still good. As much as I'm bored of Jericho because we're supposed to be in this new era, not the old man era. It was still a pretty decent promo. So then Cass's, should we say Enzo and Cass's music kicks in and Big Cass comes down now. Pros of good points of Big Cass and bad points. I thought Big Cass looked very, very good. I think he looked like he was ready. He wanted to be there and he was going to make the best of it. And the only downside I could say is he looked lost without Enzo. Now, I know obviously that's not anybody's fault because of what's happened to Enzo. That's just, I'm playing devil's advocate. I thought Big Cass did a decent job. I just thought he looked lost without Enzo. So hopefully Enzo's not going to be, long until he's fighting fit and can come back and we can carry on with the tag team. But anyway, Cass comes down, gets in Jericho's face, basically offers him out. Jericho takes his coat off and ends up walking away. Big Cass calls him soft. Jericho comes back to the ring and gets a big boot for his troubles. He then goes whining to Stephanie, who I'm going to get into Stephanie and Shane soon. There's something weird there. He then goes up to Stephanie and says, I demand you sort this out, blah, blah, blah. So she makes the main event Y2J versus Big Cass. Now, I've got to be honest, I was looking forward to it. Really, really. There was pushing that most of the night, and I was really looking forward to it, if I'm honest. But yeah, I thought Cass did good with what he had to do. Just like I say, I just felt as though he looked lost without Enzo, bless him, which is not his fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just, it's just kind of the way it kind of went. So yeah, it was a strange. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. It was a good way to open. Apart from Jericho opening up, that's I don't want to contradict myself, but I thought it was good. I just felt as though they're going new era, but yet Jericho opens the show, and that kind of it lulled for me, if I'm honest. So then we go. One of my favourite matches of the night, and I think I really like what they're doing with Baron Corbin. I wish they hadn't have made him lose at the last pay-per-view. That was the only thing for me. I'd like Corbin anyway versus Ziggler. It was a really good match. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, I love what they're doing with Baron Corbin, which is, I'll repeat myself every time I say it. Every time he does something good, I'll repeat myself. I didn't think he would settle in as good as he has. I wasn't a massive fan of him in NXT. But whoever it is that's doing this stuff with Corbin, whether it's him and the creative are working with him, or if it's creative that's pitching the ideas to him, or if it's Vince or Triple H, I don't know. Either way, whoever is doing it, whether it be a single venture or a joint venture, I like what they're doing with Baron Corbin. It was a good match with Ziggler, usual move. Ziggler hits the Fameasser and things like that. The rollover pins, all that kind of stuff, fantastic. And ends with, and I've got to be honest, probably one of my favourite finishes in the WWE at the minute. It's so basic, but he does it so well. I like the end of days. And I think the way Corbin hits it is actually really, really good. And it's really, I'm a big fan of the kind of pumped up finishes, if you like. Things like Stone Cold Stunner, Rock Bottom, them sort of power finishers. I love Sister Abigail on Bray Wyatt, and I say I like the end of days from Baron Corbin. So let's see more of that. Ziggler obviously won the last one, so they've got to get Corbin over now. Corbin's got to win at Extreme Rules, and I like the way they're building him as the Lone Wolf as well. Let's talk about the most pointless piece of crap on Raw for me. Well, I think it was anyway. I don't think there was anything else. I was sort of like anything else, But they did Fandango versus R-Truth with Goldust in one corner and Tyler Breeze in the other. So here's my question: is R-Truth supposed to be the bad guy, or is it supposed to be Goldust and Fandango? And has Breeze turned face? What's the structure? Because at one point it was going to be Golden Truth, now it's Goldango or something stupid it's called. What's the point of that? Because it's not really benefiting anybody, if I'm honest. Is it a case that Goldust is trying to work with Fandango to teach him a few things and to help get him a bit more experienced and get him over? And is R-Truth doing the same with Breeze? I don't know, but if it is that, then fair enough. But I don't know. I just think it's pointless. It didn't interest me at all whatsoever. And I was just sort of like, that's like however long of my life back I'm never going to get back. And a lot of the reception it's getting online kind of isn't good either. Let's talk about the girls. So they had Natalia at ringside, and they was obviously building on the Chicago screw job. Seriously, why? Come on, just leave it alone. Why do we need another piece of crap like that? Just leave it alone. So anyway, it was Women's Champion Charlotte versus everyone's favourite British lady, Paige. Now, I was worried about this, and I must be honest, because I thought, I like Paige. And again, it's probably the same bias as Wade Barrett, but I was so worried they were going to bury her. And I'm so glad they didn't. Because Paige, it's like she's like the mid-card diva at the minute. If you put it in the divas, compare it to the men's, you've got like Goldust and all that, who's your mid-carders. It's like they're forgetting about Paige at the minute. They've had Becky Lynch with Sasha, Natalya, Charlotte, and it was like, where's Paige? I know you're bigging up Charlotte because she's really good at what she does, but also she's Flair's daughter, and that's not being disrespectful, but it does help having your dad as Ric Flair. So it was like, we need some Paige. So we got some Paige, and the thing was that Paige looked awesome, and I'm assuming Charlotte must agree to it. I think Charlotte made Paige look good as well. Paige had obviously got some ideas she wanted to do, and Charlotte let her run with it, which is absolutely fantastic. Charlotte's obviously playing the scorned wrestler. I'm not going to say daughter because, but she's playing the scorned wrestler because if you're not aware, it's going to be Natalya versus Charlotte at Extreme Rules, and Rick's banned from ringside. Before the match, Charlotte went in to see Shane and said, "Oh, your sister's put this on. We want you to reverse it." And Shane said, "Not going to do that. And you're also banned tonight as well." Rick obviously wasn't happy and all that. So they got on with the match. A few pinfalls here and there. Some epic moves by both girls. Absolute epic moves. Really, really liked the match. I thought it was really, really good. And as I always say, I'm not a big Divas fan. I should probably not even watch Extreme Rules with Natalya in it, because Natalya and the Bellas and things like that don't interest me. I like the newer breed of women that have come up, like Charlotte, Paige, Becky, Sasha, even Emma, all that kind of stuff. I think the newer breed of divas or women that they're bringing through. Bayley, I can't wait for Bayley's debut. So I'm interested when they're involved. If it's one of the old ones like Natalya and all that, I'm just not interested. But it was an absolute epic match, and well done to both of them. Ending being Paige wins. Flair comes down, starts screaming at Natalya because Natalya tried to get involved. Next thing, Shane's music kicks in, comes down with some referees, demands Flair get the hell out of here, and Charlotte stood on the edge of the ring on the ropes, arms in air, not happy, and all this other stuff. To which Paige gets the win, and I was pleased because, like I say, I think Paige needed that for her career at this minute, because they're beginning to forget her, which would be very, very stupid of WWE to forget someone like Paige, as it would to forget Sasha, as it would to forget Charlotte if any of them were in the position. So yeah, it was a really, really good match, great ending, and very, very, very happy with the whole everything about it. To be honest with you, I'm just not looking forward to Natalya at the next pay-per-view at Extreme Rules. So my match of the night, I was going to say one of, but no, probably my match of the night, involving, overall it involves 4, and I'm a big fan of at least 3 of them. So we had Stephanie and Shane with Cesaro and Trash Man Miz, the guy who nobody really cares about, or with his wife, and my boy Kevin Owens. KO. So they're all screaming. Stephanie demands a bit of silence. They're all talking about, Kevin Owens is saying he demands his title run. Cesaro's demanding he needs his. Miz is just being a whiny little bitch. So she says, well, let's make it a triple threat. Midge, let's call him Midge because it's probably the most important thing about him. Miz is not happy and says, that's not fair. I don't even have to get pinned to lose my title, and all this, the usual crap that he comes out with. And then up pops Mr. Sami Zayn. I love this guy. Who comes in and says, look, you can't have a match without me. I did so well. I had the IC title in my hand last week. The fans was going crazy. You've got to let me get involved. So between them, it was Steph's idea, it was Zayn's idea, if I'm honest. Zayn come up with, look, give me a match against Miz. If I win, I'll get in. If not, I'll get out of the way and, I'll go to the back of the line, was his exact words. Stephanie says, that's not a bad idea. Shane agrees. So we have Miz versus Sami Zayn. Now, for me, I don't think Miz did much in that match. He did a few bits here and there. I don't think Miz shined at all. To say he's the IC champion, he didn't shine in the match, but Zayn looked fantastic. Like Sami Zayn, like everything he does. Love how the fans just glow as soon as his music hits. Loved everything. Zayn doing the high flying. Absolutely everything he did was top draw again. Even to the point where he was on the ropes, Miz pushes him and he smashes his face on the stage. Even the way Zayn did that was fantastic. And I won't rule out Zayn walking out of Extreme Rules with the title. I don't think they'll put it on Cesaro, and I don't think they'll put it on Owens, because I don't think Owens is going to be long off going higher, going for a bigger title, going for the big title. So I don't think they'll put the title on them. I hope they take it off Miz. And I think if they're going to take it off Miz, it'll be Sami Zayn. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be Cesaro, and I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with any outcome other than the Miz walks away and carries on with the title. Just because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't boost the IC title. At least when Owens had it, he had the whole, Owens is going to be special, and he was putting a bit of legitimacy, I think is the word I'm looking for on the IC title. But for me, Miz doesn't do that. They had a bit later where Owens interrupted a Zack Ryder talking to Shane. Zack saying, look, I lost the title and this and that and everything else. And I agree, Zack has not had a rematch. Why the hell has Zack not had a rematch? He lost it the night after Mania, and that was it. We didn't see him again. Why put the title on him just to lose it? Was it just to get a WrestleMania moment for him? Was there no other reasoning behind giving him the IC title apart from it to cheer the fans up, and it'll give him a Mania moment? I thought they were going to do a proper storyline. But anyway, it turns out that Shane turns around to Owens and says, you know what, Kevin? You're going to fight Zack Ryder, and if you lose, you're out, and he's in the IC title picture. Match goes off. Owens looks his awesome self as usual. Didn't think Ryder looked too bad. I thought it was a decent match, and there was no way they was ever going to let Owens lose. So Owens wins. So it's going to be a fatal four-way. And if you're interested, on SmackDown, it's going to be Zayn and Cesaro in a tag match versus Owens and Miz. That could be quite interesting, especially if they all end up fighting at the end of it as well. So yeah, I think the IC title is the biggest thing I'm looking forward to more than anything else, and that means everything else. And I've got nothing against what AJ and Roman's doing, but I'm looking forward to the IC title. But that's because it's got people in who I'm really hot on at the minute. So leading on to another pointless, I think pointless, and I really hope they don't stick the title back on him. But we had Rusev versus Sin Cara. Rusev is the number one contender for the USA Championship. Don't stick the title back on him. I like Rusev. I've got nothing against him, but why don't put the title back on him? What would be the point in putting the title back on Rusev? He's had it. He had a run with it. He lost it to Cena. So please don't stick it back on him. If you're going to put him another title on him, stick him in the IC title picture. Make Zayn win the IC title at Extreme Rules, and Rusev, he has to fight Rusev. That'd be more, and I wouldn't be upset with a Rusev victory. I would in a way, because I want Zayn to have a really good run. But just don't stick the US title back on him. There's better, there's other people out there who need that title who haven't had it. You could stick the US title on most people. Even like Zayn, I wouldn't put it on Owens, because again, I think he's bigger than that now. But Cesaro, even some of the other new, like Apollo Crews, anything like that. Even Baron Corbin. In fact, Baron Corbin would be the way I'd go, if I'm completely honest. Once he's finished with Ziggler, stick him against Sin Cara. I think they know each other quite well because they were in NXT together. So that's Sin Cara? Kalisto. I do apologise. So yeah, but anyway, we had Sin Cara versus Rusev. It was an alright match. They do what they always do. How can I best describe it? It was just a typical ending that Kalisto put Rusev off. Sin Cara gets the win. It was kind of like, it was a basic sort of, I'm going to put you off and you're going to get pinned. Rusev obviously not happy. But I'm more pleased the fact that Rusev hasn't got Del Boro and Sheamus or Dreamus or whatever you want to call the cretin I'm glad he hasn't got them over him now. I'm glad he's not carrying them as well. But better ideas for Rusev, please. A lot better ideas for Rusev. So let's go on to what I suppose it was the big match, but it wasn't the main event for him. They're now called The Crew, which is AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. Now, no, sorry, not The Crew, The Club. The Club, I do apologise. So we've got The Club. Is that because they're not allowed to use Bullet Club? Or is it because that when Balor comes up, it's going to be the Balor Club? I don't know, but either way, they called it The Club, which kind of pleased a lot of people because it kind of was a reference to the Bullet Club or the Balor Club. So all them people in the crowd that are wearing the merchandise where it says Bullet Club or Balor Club, I'm really, really happy. I'd rather them be named the Bullet Club or, but if they're not allowed to, maybe they're not allowed to. We don't know. But anyway, it was the Club versus the family, obviously, the Usos and Roman Reigns. I enjoyed it. I just think I think the storyline's wearing a bit thin now. We want to see an outcome now. It's kind of like, yeah, it's good, but I don't know. I'm just not 100% bought on it. And that's nothing against AJ and Roman because I think they're doing pretty decent. I just don't think it's quite what I was hoping. I was expecting a little bit better. And it's really hard to put my finger on, and I wish I could explain why I think that, but I have no way of explaining other than it's just not getting me. It's not sort of, grasping me in. And to be honest, I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't believe the whole AJ and Roman thing. But either way, it was a decent match. So I think technically Roman won, if I remember correctly, because of a DQ. That's the only thing I can think that was the outcome of that match. Because they started getting. I think it was Jimmy went first, then Anderson, and here's the biggest one for you. They go to an ad break, and the other Uso gets eliminated in the ad break. So we come back from the ad break, and it's Roman versus Luke and AJ. Really? Why? You're trying to sell it to us, and the Uso gets eliminated during the commercial break. That, to me, was very stupid. Very, very stupid. But anyway, Roman takes out Gallows, then him and AJ scrapping for a little bit, and then he goes down to the outside, getting ready to throw AJ through the announce table again, and then Gallows and Anderson turn up, hit him with a chair, and that's what I'm assuming at the point. I'm sure the bell rung at that point, and he was AJ was disqualified. Usos come down, they all take each other out, blah 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 blah, usual stuff and all that kind of stuff. And it ends up with Roman stood in the ring, AJ stood on the out of the ring. There's a chair in the middle. One's telling the other one to grab it. The other was saying, "I don't need it. I can beat you." The other one's saying, "Well, I don't need it. I can beat you," and all this sort of stuff. And there was kind of like, it just kind of finished where AJ was stood at the bottom of the ramp, Roman was in the ring. AJ was going to hit him with the Styles Clash, but it never came off. So, yeah, I mean, they've got another week of Raw just to kind of... I just think of all the stories that they've had in the past with anybody that's been really, really early finish that you think that could have had a bit longer in it. I think this is the one that didn't have any longer in it. I think they should have finished this last month. Roman, I noticed Roman's getting a lot more cheers, but it's still the John Cena crowd that's cheering him, and the olders are now cheering AJ, and the young'uns are booing AJ. So it's kind of turning into a sort of Orton versus Cena style thing again. Sorry, I've got really itchy nose. So yeah, that's kind of the feel it's getting, but see what happens next week in Extreme Rules. I just hope whatever... I mean, there's no way Roman loses at Extreme Rules to AJ Styles. They're not going to put the title on him yet. I'm just still not convinced that somebody's going to... I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody And I'm not saying Balor. I think Balor's later this year. But I think somebody will turn up and be a part of the club. That's my prediction. I think there's going to be a sort of weird sort of reunion with somebody, or somebody comes in. I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. So we had the New Day as well in a tag match. They're obviously fighting the Vaudevillains or the Boar Villains. Or, well, maybe it's a little bit unfair. They've not long since been up. I don't think they've found their feet yet. I did like the Vaudevillains in NXT. I just don't think they've found the feet in the main roster yet. I do have a feeling though that the maybe the tag team runs come to an end now. I can't decide. I'm 50-50. I don't think... Half of me thinks that they won't put the title on the Vaudevillains because they have no buzz, whether good guys or bad guys. Or face or heels, whichever you want to call them. So, yeah, that half of me says, they're going to keep going with the New Day. But then the other half of me is saying that Vince is going to take it eventually, and who better to give the title to than a young heel tag team? I don't know. Maybe next week I can kind of try and make a decision for you, but as it stands, I am literally 50-50. They had a match anyway versus Dudleys, which was great. Vaudevillains got involved, attacked champs and everything, but obviously the Dudley boys win first and foremost. But anyway, English and Gotch take out Kofi. They hit him with a bell, and that's kind of more of a case of trying to get them over, or try and get people to believe that they are a legitimate heel tag team, which is great, which is what they want to do. Because, like I say, if they haven't found their feet yet, they've got to come up with some ideas for them. Because I think it'd be a shame to waste them. Because I do think they've got potential. I don't think they've got longevity, but I think they've got potential. So, anyway, main event of the night. Well, it wasn't really a main event, let's be honest about it. They've been bigging up Cass versus Jericho all night. They did a promo before with Big Cass where he said he'd dedicate the match to Enzo and all that kind of stuff. Cass comes down to massive pop and the chants of "How you doing? How you doing?" And everything else, which was awesome. Then the lights go out, Jericho's music hits, and Jericho appears with the coat. But wait, there's a twist coming. He ends up in the ring, the lights go up, and it's not Chris Jericho, it's Dean Ambrose. Ambrose is wearing Jericho's coat and decides to completely take it apart. He rips the wiring out and everything. Jericho's like going crazy. It's a $15,000 coat, this and that. He gets on the edge of the ring, then he tries to run away with the coat. Cass stops him, throws him to the barrier, throws him in the ring, gets hits with the dirty deeds off Ambrose, and Ambrose pulls out the scissors and proceeds to cutting it up. Now, it was really, really funny, and I kind of enjoyed it, and I'd not got nothing against what they did because they're obviously still building Ambrose versus Jericho. But I was looking forward to watching Cass versus Y2J. I really was looking forward to that. And I was disappointed we didn't get to see that. After all the hype they give it all night, it was trending on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And I was disappointed. But then it was one of them. I was disappointed we didn't see the match, but the promo or what they did with regards Dean Ambrose and Y2J was good. I'd have just wished they could have come up with the solution where they did that. And then Cass walks in the ring, takes out Jericho, and Cass gets that win. You know what I mean? I mean, what better way to sort of make a name? But then I suppose if they're just using Cass until Enzo's right, they're not going to want to build him as a solo competitor because the buzz will go on him being solo, and will they really then carry on with Enzo and Cash? And I don't want them to split Enzo and Cash up. So if it was either a case that that Cass won, but then obviously Vince started having ideas of keeping him solo or doing the ending they did so then they can get the tag team back together, then fine, I'll accept the ending as it is. Either way, it was a good ending, but it wasn't a great ending. It was a good Raw, but it wasn't a great Raw. It wasn't up to the standard that we've seen a lot recently. it didn't feel like the new era. They kept going on about it all night, but it didn't kind of feel like the new era, if I'm honest. Kind of felt still like the old guys were still working, still in there, and it was just the new era is just a tag to try and get people to watch. But anyway, so I want to talk about Shane and Steph. Now, I can't decide. I was convinced that they'll get along for a little bit, then they'll fall out, then Triple H will come in, and then they'll lead up to either SummerSlam or Survivor Series, Stephanie's team versus Shane's team with Triple H obviously involved. But it's kind of like they a few promos they did with Shane and Stephanie, they had the photo of Vince and Shane in the background again. There was the bit at the end where Stephanie was looking at the photo, looked at Shane, then smiled at the photo. I don't know. Is it going to be a case that Stephanie's going to have a change of heart and work with Shane and generally work with him, but Shane's going to reject it? Or is it a case that Shane's going to screw some, is Shane going to do a heel turn and screw Stephanie and Vince? So I don't know. I was up until seeing Stephanie when she was with the photo and then staring at Shane after he'd walked away. I was convinced it was going to be, like I say, Stephanie and Shane for a little while. Then Triple H turns back up, big fallout, all that, and all that kind of stuff. On Triple H, again, I don't know if it's true. It was something I'm reading on the internet that he's now signed an extension to his wrestler's contract until, I think it works out round about WrestleMania 35. I think it's a 3-year deal. Obviously, he's COO, so he was never going to go anywhere. He's got, obviously, all that sorted. But from a wrestling point of view, from a competitor's point of view, I'd read that he's signed up for another 3 years. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Is Triple H within the next 3 years? Is Triple H going to start turning into Ric Flair, where he's going to be that guy that's still wrestling, that's had his heyday? All the young guys are in, all the upstarts and people like Owens and everything will hopefully have made the names and be huge and things like that. I'm not sure if 3 years may be too long for Triple H to be in the ring. I don't know. I worry with the career Triple H has had, it's going to be like the old guy in the dressing room situation, but I don't know. I really don't know. Only time will tell. Anyway, thank you very much. As I always say, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed my insight. Don't forget, guys, we had our first fan interaction last time. Always looking for more fan interaction. If you are interested, these are the ways below, left and right. These are the ways you can get in contact with me. Please make sure you find us. Don't forget to sub on YouTube, and also please like and share this video. Support us every way you can. The more people involved, the more fun it'll be. I'd love a fan on every single week. All you got to do is find me and follow me on Twitter, DM me on Twitter, message me on Facebook, find and message me on Facebook. And just sort of say, look, I'm interested in being on, and we'll arrange times and days that suit both myself and you the best we can. So yeah, don't forget, guys, please come and get involved. I repeat, at this point, every single week, this podcast is by a fan, for the fans, with the fans, and no matter what, that'll be the way I always will present this show. So if you guys do want to get involved, you know what to do. Facebook, Twitter. Please, I say, don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to share this video. And don't forget to comment. If there's anything you disagree or agree or anything you feel I missed out on, the comment box is below. It's all you guys. Comment away. I'll happily reply to you. You can, there's lots and lots of discussions to have regards WWE and everything they're doing. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget the old videos are also on my channel. You can always go back, starting from the WrestleMania review. Extreme Rules is soon. Looking forward to that. Got a guest lined up for that as well. Another fan who's a big WWE fan, just like myself. He's lined up to come on for the pay-per-view review. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. Moobs out.